Alpha building a recommended PC for his office.
Recommended, you say?
With the recommended specifications.
What, recommended, all right. I bought a case recommended from Gamers Nexus. I'm buying the components recommended by both my boss and my grandpa, who is a bit more experienced in figuring out how to configure systems like this. Yeah, lots of recommendations going on here.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Macro from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf.
And as always, we have lots of topics to get started with. So how about we get started for our first topic, which is Alpha building a recommended PC for his office.
Recommended, you say?
With the recommended specifications.
What, recommended, all right. I bought a case recommended from Gamers Nexus. I'm buying the components recommended by both my boss and my grandpa, who is a bit more experienced in figuring out how to configure systems like this. Yeah, lots of recommendations going on here.
Would you mind explain? I'll probably. Is it okay if I include the video clips you sent of assembling that PC?
Yeah, go. Well, it's not really assembled just yet. Actually,
I meant the clips of the recommended.
Yeah. I also really love how Haven cases give you recommended cable routing guides. Don't you love their recommendations? I don't think they realize there's a typo in there. And here's the hilarious part. Here's a recommended cable route. A couple more recommended cable routes. That's embarrassing. Go for it.
Because I'll go and let Alpha explain the context behind a recommended joke.
Yeah, so it's not built out yet because I only have like half the components. I still have to get CPU cooler, GPU, power supply, and storage. So I still have a few other things I need to get. In the meantime, I have a case, obviously, motherboard, what else? I got case fans and RAM. I should talk about RAM. I don't know if I talked about it last week or not, but I do have memory, and I got a 50% discount.
Phew.
It still costs too much, but I got a 50% discount. But nonetheless, so here's what we mean. Here's what's going on with the recommended joke. So this case right here I've selected is the Haven BF360. Haven BF360 Flow. There are two versions of this case. The Flow is the one that comes with some fans. So this right here is a 140 millimeter exhaust, and then on the front, if I can flip it around here, this is crazy. Two 180 millimeter fans. 180 millimeters. These things are massive.
Yes, they are massive.
And then I also bought two more fans on Haven's site. Two more 180 millimeter fans to put on the top here. So yeah, this case can hold up to 4 180 millimeter fans. This thing is going to have no problems being able to breathe. That's a big reason why I picked the case. But I can't really showcase this now because I need to get a screwdriver to take the panel off. But within the reason why we're making a bunch of recommended jokes right now is because a thing with this case when it launched is a feature that Haven prides itself on, and honestly it's one of my favorite features, is they'll give you cable management recommendations. And there will be on the HS420 I have back there, it's in the form of stickers, and they'll say things like, recommended for your 24-pin cable, recommended for USB connectors, recommended for fan connect, that type of stuff. But on this case, when it initially launched, well, there was a slight typo in the word recommended. We got Recommendned for 24-pin cables, Recommendned for your EPS connectors, Recommendned for basically everything. So this case is not short of cable management recommendations. Yeah. So yeah, it was a bit of a blunder. It was, in the grand scheme of things, it's a really small blunder. It's just when Gamers Nexus, that's actually how I discovered this case's existence. When Gamers Nexus got this case in for review, one of the first things he pointed out was the recommendations for all of the cable management. And he talked about how apparently it joins a few other well-known quality cases in their quests to the Unconwa.
What's the Unconwa?
I really wish I remembered which case manufacturer it was. They were trying to say in search of the unknown, but they accidentally, I don't know how they did this, because unknown is a 7-letter word. UNKNOWN. Yeah, 7-letter word. There was a bit of a typo, and somehow they both skipped a letter and really did not spell the word unknown correctly. It ended up coming out as Unconwa.
Unconwa. Wow, although it is Unconwa, although it's unknown or Unconwa, I should say, whether we should recommend, who wrote the recommended typo, but I wonder if that was done on purpose, as somebody inside the company was named Ned and wanted a promotion, so he put recommend Ned all over the PC, so that way he could get recommended for a promotion.
Honestly, I don't really think somebody did it on purpose.
I was just making a
part
joke.
Of what
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Yeah. Well, part of what Haven's known for, too, is just their insane attention to details. I mean, you won't find as many details to pay attention to specifically on the BF360, but on the HS420, wow, there's a lot of details. Like, the side panels, they're held on by magnets. Magnets. And that's a really premium feel. And the glass sheet, I've never really showcased this on camera, and I'm not going to because I have to unscrew it again. The glass sheet has this really cool rail system. And so there's a lot of details that Haven pays attention to. It's a reason why I mean, we're mostly Apple-focused people, right? Which means we care slightly a bit about product design, right?
Yes, or should I say we?
Yeah. And the thing is, Apple's not the only one who can make great chassis. Like, I love the iMac that I'm filming my end of the show on. Well, where's my... Oh, there it is. This is a beautiful design. Like, you can have beautiful design computers, and even though in the PC space, okay, we got to comply to standards and all that, there's like Apple levels of attention to detail in this case.
Really, Apple?
And it's a real shame.
Yeah.
I'd argue so.
You mean it has
yeah.
Apple level details? So you mean that the level of details precision is so precise that you can that looks as good as this, to where the camera lenses are not equivalent to each other, and how come apparently the camera bump is not as rounded off as the edges?
So, you know what, in that case, let me rephrase that.
Old Apple.
I'll say it's close to Johnny Ive level.
I knew what you meant, but I just
Apple.
had to clarify, because I'm like, I knew what you meant, but some of our audience would probably think it's as good as the iPhone 17 Pro, which is This is ugly, Apple.
Oops.
I'm sorry. This is ugly.
Yeah, worst design ever. But I mean, like, there's so many details that they got. Like, the radii in these slats on the front matches the radii of the slats on the top. Various things like that. There are so many other thoughtful details and design decisions. Like, most cases, you are never going to find anything to support your graphics card. Most of them don't. They have no support for the graphics card, and they end up sagging, and if your case is cheap, it ends up breaking your case. It ends up breaking your motherboard because it's putting tension on the PCIe slot. But in this case, I don't know if you can see it that well, but there's a GPU support in there.
That is great.
That is, like, such awesome attention to
highly
detail.
recommend
And then
that.
cable management. Yes, easily. Cable management, too. I mentioned the Recommendned cable management. Again, typo aside, the fact that it's even there, I suck at cable management. And if you looked at my last PC build, before the HS420, yeah, it had a lot to be desired. But when I built the system in the HS420 with its cable recommendations, yes, it's proper recommendations. The HS420 does not have a typo. It looks so clean. Actually, you can kind of see it because the back panel's not solid. So let me unplug this real quick. Just gotta get the Ethernet cable. There we go. Oh, whoa, much heavier now with an actual
Looks like you need
computer
to
in it.
lift weights.
I don't know if you can. A little bit. Can you see the cable management?
Oui. Which means yes in French, by the way.
I know.
I was clarifying to the audience.
It is so clean. Yeah. This is so clean. Coming from me. Of all people. And everybody knows I'm a slob.
Well, sometimes even pigs are intelligent.
That's one of my favorite features of these. I suppose, yeah.
Lots of people don't realize how intelligent pigs actually are, especially as pets.
True. Trying to put this back on without knocking anything over. Okay, note to self, I'm gonna plug that stuff in later.
Right.
But yeah, I love Haven cases because ever since I discovered the HS420, I'm like, for one, the design, even ignoring the feature set, the design of the case itself is pretty beautiful. And yet it also has the recommended cable management guides. It has a GPU support bracket as well, even though I'm not entirely sure how or if or I'll be using it. But it has a GPU support bracket. There's just so much level of quality and attention to detail. Again, most of the side panels are held in by magnets. There's a really nice rail system for the glass panel in particular. No, yeah, honestly, if you're looking to build a PC, if you can tolerate microslop windows... That's what everybody's calling the company now, Microslop. But yeah, if you can tolerate Microslop Windows, or if you want to build a Linux PC or something like that, if you're looking for a case, Haven has my solid 100% recommendation.
I recommend them too, but by the way, but
highly recommended.
Yeah.
I will say this, one more thing before we actually move on to the next topic. Supposedly this recommended typo thing is supposed to be fixed, except I ordered this case at this point roughly 2 weeks ago. And yet, so this case should be fresh off their factory line, because I didn't order it from Amazon. I ordered it directly from them. But somehow my case still has the typo, as you'll probably see as you probably would have seen in the video clip. So... But, No, yeah. Haven makes great cases. Just excellent. And I love the HS420. This is going to power my server. And the BF360 is what's going to be holding my system for my day job. So, but yeah, great cases. What's the next topic? I gotta pull up my iPad yet. I am so prepared.
This is what we have. Our next topic is what our recommendations are for the Idiot Award.
Ah, yes. I happen to have a lot of nominations.
I think I have multiple as well, but let's go and get started with them. So we have lots of recommendations. So I have the first one, the latest one pulled up. Or
which one is it mine or
it's yours?
Yeah, it's mine. So I uploaded a video yesterday as of recording this. Geez, center stage, pick an angle. Yeah, I uploaded a video yesterday as of recording discussing the whole topic we'll be discussing very soon. And I had a little skit in it. And apparently somebody can't tolerate fun. The comment reads, WTF, wrong with you. Well, nice grammar, by the way. WTF, wrong with you in the starting of the video. Man, that was cringe.
Sometimes creators make stuff cringy on purpose. Like, I got a lot of comments. Like, I got lots of comments on my video of raising cats with AI, which is parodied Sam Altman raising his kid with AI. On that video, I got lots of comments saying that video was very cringy. I mean, even Alpha said it was cringy. But I made it cringy on purpose.
Yeah, it was so cringy.
I made it cringy on purpose, though.
Yeah, that was the point, though. Like, the whole point was for it to sound uncomfortable and just... and sound wrong, period. It's just... that was the whole point. The skit was just, what the heck, let's throw this thing together. And yet... That's genuinely how I felt. I thought of it like 2 seconds before I hit the record button, and that was it. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, there's one. I got one comment recently saying that when one guy said that when it was on my AI will crash the economy video, and one guy commented, "Sounds like you rushed the thumbnail," and I replied, "Yeah, I did," because I literally just drew a little line that looked like a stock crashing in the red. But this is also one of yours, because you're the star of the show today.
Apparently so. So on the Drive channel, my latest video, I made a video talking about a bit of a question if it's okay as to whether automakers should be releasing unfinished vehicles with a crap ton of software bugs and things disabled from the factory. So the comment was, awesome review, as always. I didn't realize I uploaded a review.
Oh, and then he asked if you were on TikTok.
Oh. Clearly doesn't watch, even though he says, as always. Although, honestly, I think the funniest thing is his username.
Bead fart. It's almost as if, is he trying to look like an idiot? Because if so, he's really doing well.
He's doing a really good job at looking like an idiot. I think he's on podium for this week's Idiot Awards.
Are you sure? This guy that I'm about to show you that I hid too. I actually hid this guy. And this guy has had an Idiot Award on this.
Yeah, he's probably first place.
This guy is probably the first one. So, alright, so I'll go ahead
and it's probably going to be his last Idiot Award ceremony. That's not even the entire comment, by the way. I ran out of room for the screenshot.
Or do you have the full comments? That way we can... Or what... Actually, never mind. I will pull his comment.
I'd have to go digging for it.
I will pull his video up on YouTube right now to go ahead and reveal it, because I have...
I've already hidden it.
You already have?
You won't find it. I've already hidden it. Yeah.
All right, so this is the whole. Okay, so this guy, Phineas Flynn, who's been on the Idiot Awards ceremony before, and I actually hit this guy a few years ago. So he might actually be watching this podcast episode if he watches both of us, but he's and if you're watching this, congratulations, but this guy commented, here are some popular Gen Alpha words and phrases kids born from 2010 to 2025. A lot of these come from gaming, TikTok, YouTube, and meme culture. Common fire emoji, common Gen Alpha slang. Skibbity, nonsense word from Skibbity toilet, used humorously. I don't know about humorously, but it is a nonsense word from Skibbity toilet, that's true. Riz, charisma, especially flirting from charisma. Yeah, that's true. Gyat, reaction to someone impressive, often looks. That is not what gyat means, by the way.
I've never even heard of it, nor do I plan on ever using it.
Gyat was actually a trending term back when I was in 8th grade that refers to what the back of an AirPods Max case looks like. That is what gyat actually is, I believe. Phantom tax, joking about stealing food from AMP crew. I have no idea what any of that is, but I'm pretty sure that's not. That I've literally never heard of. NPC, someone acting basic or scripted. I think I maybe might have heard that. I don't know. Mid-average or disappointing. My dad says that all the time. That's okay.
That's not even like Gen Alpha slang. That word's been used for years. Like, the most common time I use it is mid-tier.
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
I mean, that was mid. Like that. I think that's what we're
It's not Gen Alpha slang.
It's not exactly Gen Alpha slang, but based, confident, authentic, or cool. I mean, I've barely heard that, but I was born in 08 for reference, so I'm almost Gen Alpha, but not quite, luckily. Bussin', really cold, good, usually food. Yeah, I've heard that. It was back in 8th grade when I heard that, but yeah, I've heard that. Cap, no cap, lie, or / true. I've heard that a bunch. Bet, okay, agreed. I think I've heard that. Suspicious, that's obvious. W/L, win/loss. That was really popular when I was in 8th grade, too. Gaming an online term.
Isn't sus a Zoomer thing?
Who's the Zoomers?
I thought sus was Zoomer.
Gen Z.
Gen Z?
Yeah, yeah, it is technically Gen Z. It's both technically, but yeah. Honestly,
because even I'll use that on the occasion.
Everybody at this point, I think everybody uses that because I think sus is an all universal one. That's gaming online terms. Sweaty, trying way too hard. Never tried that. Never heard that. Excuse me. Clutch, saving the game at the last moment. Never heard that. AFK, away from keyboard. I've never heard that.
You came in clutch.
Okay, maybe
I think that's a movie reference. I hear that mostly in movies. You came in clutch for this part.
GG, good game. Never heard that. Try hard, someone over competitive. That's not Gen Alpha slang.
That's a sports thing.
That's been used for so many years.
Yeah.
Meme/brain rot words.
Yeah, GG's like sports. I used GG in 7th grade.
Yeah, and you're significantly older than me, but
this isn't. So some of this is. I mean, some of it, particularly at the top, is Gen Alpha stupidity. But then why does he have to include some of these other words? These are old. These aren't like. What?
Now these.
What?
Now let's move on to the meme/brain rot words. Ohio means weird or cursed. That makes sense. I've also heard of Ohio being used to describe a state in the Midwestern United States, but I've honestly.
That's all I know it for.
I mean, I've actually thought that in Ohio just to go along with the meme. I actually personally think that on their welcome signs and on their license plates, they should put Skibbity Ohio just as a joke while this meme is still current. Like the state of Ohio should embrace their slang, but that's beside the point. But Sigma is lone wolf, cool, confidence. Yeah, that's true. That's about right. Sigma is also a historic Greek letter, and Lean Six Sigma means that you're certified in efficiency for business yield output. And then I actually took the Lean Six Sigma test, which is like that, but I failed that. But that's beside the point. But brain rot is a chaotic meme content. That's true. IYK.
I don't like that description of brain rot.
Yes,
In fact, brain rot only needs one word right next to it, and I can't really say it unless we censor.
Yeah. Okay, I know what you're saying.
So,
and
that there's really only one way to describe what it is. What I don't like his description at all. It's trying to soften the blow on what brain rot really is.
And then IYK, if you know, you know. I barely heard that, but and that's not even the end of the comment because Alpha hit it.
Yeah. Unless I try to find. Can I see hidden comments? I don't know. Oh crap! Which channel is that again?
Gadgets.
That is Gadgets. Okay. So I am there. Why am I switching channels? All right. Community.
That was obviously AI generated. Specifically, that was ChatGPT generated.
It very much was, especially because some of them was very inaccurate. Brain rot in particular. Published. Let's see. Nope, can't find it.
Oh, that's because I deleted it, but I guess that's a good thing, but
yeah. In fairness, we've been on that comment for a lot because I think we still got more.
Oh yeah, we got more. So this is also one of yours on the Drive channel.
I'm trying to find it right now. Where is it? I posted too many here. There it is. Okay. Yeah, apparently someone's got a problem with my fashion choices. Except, if you follow me, you know I don't care about fashion. So why are you commenting on it?
Exactly. Get rid of those sandals and socks, you Viking. First of all, I'm pretty sure the Vikings did not wear sandals. Although, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Vikings did not.
Well, given that they were located far north, I highly doubt it.
Yeah, also I don't... Let me actually look that up. Did Vikings wear sandals?
I would assume they'd wear boots.
They wore a type of footwear called a turn shoe. Okay. Alright.
Learn something new, I guess. But also, I'm not Norse. Do I look Scandinavian to you? I mean, I may live in a freezing environment, but do I look Scandinavian to any of you?
I'm part Scandinavian, and there's a reason, and you can tell I'm only part. But
so,
this is one of mine, which is what's on my iOS 4 iPad 1. Now the comment at the top, that is not actually an idiot word, but then this guy. But then what's on my iOS 4 iPad 1? Why would this guy comment? Why you talk like that? First of all, it's not grammatically correct. It's why do you talk like that? Start capitalizing. That's beside the point. And then he replied, "You sound like you have a stroke or a mental illness." First of all, if I had a stroke, I wouldn't be talking. So, if I had,
well, not necessarily true, but
I mean, most of the time, if you have a stroke, you're not going. When you have a stroke, you're more than likely not going to be filming a YouTube video.
Not likely.
And then Tabby replied to that, "Have a stroke isn't a phrase. He either means had or having," which that's true. True. And then you got two idiot, and then you have two more right next to each other.
Yeah, they're in the same screenshot. So I'll start with the one on the bottom, claiming I'm a freak. Well, guess what, sir? I have one word for you. Creep.
He's the freak.
He looks like a creep. Yeah. And then the top one. I have to make a dedicated video on this because it's really time I update the CCS1 versus CCS2 conversation. Because Europeans don't get it. This is actually infuriating. Europeans do not understand this. There is a difference between CCS1 and CCS2. It is a very massive difference. So when I say, I'm pretty sure whenever I talk about CCS, I typically say here in North America or something like that. So when I'm talking about moving away from CCS and transitioning to NACS, do you think I'm talking about Europeans?
Exactly. This guy, or actually you can read it.
Yeah, so this guy here says, NACS connectors are exposed to approximately 320 million potential users, while CCS2 connectors are more exposed to approximately 740 million potential users in Europe and are the EU standard. That has no relevance here.
Exactly.
This is a video on the ID Buzz in North America. I repeat, North America.
Besides,
CCS2 has a grand total of exposure to 0 North Americans. 0. Zelch.
Exactly. And here's another thing: is that CCS Type 2 it's the official standard of Hong Kong, the UK, and the rest of Europe. It's the official standard for all those countries. So it has a far wider reach. Whereas NACS, I mean, it's not even the standard on all EVs, but even so, it exists present in the United States. I guess technically Mexico, even though a lot of time, most of the time, people in Mexico just walk to their stores and whatnot. So
funny enough, NACS is obviously the standard here in the U.S. because we're basically getting ready to move away from CCS. But NACS is the obvious standard for here. NACS is available in Canada, Mexico, Japan, I'm not even joking, and South Korea. Yes, South Korea has NACS because their predominant standard is CCS1.
And Canada has half the population.
But I find it hilarious.
Canada has a very low population, but still, CCS technically has once NACS gets rolling, it's going to have a far wider reach.
Especially here in North America. And that's the big deal. It's a big deal in North America. If you live elsewhere, then it does not apply to you. So, I'm sorry, Mr. What is it? Gmail1, whatever your username is. This is not relevant to you. I don't feel burned by this because guess what? Your argument as of why CCS2 is the superior or whatever. The grand total reach of CCS2 in here in North America is 0. So don't advocate for it here in North America. It's never coming.
Because our electricals...
We have a better connector suited for this market.
Exactly, but shall I go ahead and move on to shall I go ahead and move on to some actual news, not outside of us?
Yep. Oh yeah, we finally got through all of the idiot awards. Wow, that took forever. All right. So, one of my idiot awards was regarding one of these, this video that I posted yesterday. So, yeah, look. Anybody else pissed about this movement? Apple's beginning to pressure?
The Apple Creator Studio, it's a subscription for $130 a year or $13 a month. That includes Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, Freeform, and all the other Pro Creator apps like Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, Compressor, Mainstage, whatever the other app is.
Yeah, anybody else upset?
Yeah, same. Yes, because you get Because you explained perfectly in that video, which is that purchasing it once gets you everything, and I like it. This subscription is just for you don't have to pay again. But with this subscription,
That's my whole point. And my problem with well, let's talk about the grand problem after we discuss fully what Apple Creator Studio is, because that's a problem that I kept running into during my whole video. It was so hard to stay on track. So let's actually discuss what this Apple Creator Studio subscription even is. What does it contain? Let's establish what that is before we discuss the big problem in the grand scheme of things. So, as far as what I know as of what this thing is, it is a subscription to add AI BS into your creative apps. Because as far as what I know, the way that Apple is initially implementing this is you don't need the subscription right now to access Pages, Numbers, Keynote, Final Cut, all of that. It's an option on top of all of this software that is either free or, in some of our cases, we paid for. It's just an optional layer on top of all of that stuff to add, in this case, AI BS.
you clarified it very well.
That's what I know. So that's what it is. It's, as of right now, it's just an option on top of either the free or the software that we already paid for. But the big thing that I raised in my video, and where we can finally get into the rant about, is it's starting a very slippery slope towards, okay, well, what if nobody takes this option of paying a subscription for stuff on top of the stuff that they already have either for free or have paid once for?
Which I doubt many people will.
Honestly, given that this is software for creatives and artists, I don't think these people you're targeting a demographic that is already peeved and very upset about the generative AI BS that's been going on. This demographic is already upset by AI's presence. And as a result, I don't think the majority of these people have any interest in paying a subscription for AI BS on top of the tools that they already use. I mean, I will be clear. That's how I personally feel.
Same.
So, I doubt this is going to go well, but because, and this may just be a working theory, but given that, shareholders and investors appear to have all the priority instead of the people who actually spend the money to buy these tools and use them, because investors and shareholders have the priority, they're not going to be happy if this subscription doesn't work out, because that means less money for their greedy butts. And I'm worried that's going to inspire Apple to pivot towards, pulling an Adobe.
Which is making it all subscription-based, which is why I left Microsoft and Adobe.
So, yeah, that's absolutely infuriating. That now, I mean, it's always been a possibility back then, and I'll say this: I am grateful that they've remained, they've remained consistent on not charging a fee for the software that we use, minus Final Cut and Logic for iPad, that whatever BS that is. Other than that, they've been fairly consistent for the tools that we use on the Mac. And this is a bad sign that consistency is finally going to go away. And now, in a world where basically, I hate that I'm quoting Gamers Nexus so much, but the thing is, he's not wrong, and it's hard to not use these words, but dang it, he's right. These days, right now, it's set up where you can't afford to buy a house. So we have to settle for paying rent. Like, I'm not even talking like renting an apartment. I'm talking like renting a home or doing a lease agreement. Nobody these days can afford to buy a house. The rates have shot up so high and the mortgages are absolutely ridiculous. Although I actually hear as of recently, they are finally starting to come down, which is excellent news. But it's still expensive. So now we have to settle for, okay, we're never going to own a home. We're always going to be beholden to a landlord. That sucks. So maybe we can settle for, if we can't afford a house because it's so expensive, maybe we can get a nice car. Maybe we can own a nice car, except... these days, it seems, especially if you're looking for an electric car, seems like these days, there's way too many incentives to lease a vehicle and too many disincentives to actually finance or buy a car outright. And I'm talking specifically new cars.
Yeah.
Used cars are a different story.
Most new cars also come with subscriptions too. So,
oh, that's annoying in and of itself. Like, remember when BMW tried to force a subscription for heated seats in Apple CarPlay?
Yes.
So stupid. But, and these days, thanks to AI BS, skyrocketing the prices of memory and storage out of nowhere, it literally costs now $600 for 32 gigs of DDR5 and a terabyte of storage. $600 for both combined.
Ironic.
Anybody else see a problem?
What the ironic part is that, or it's not ironic, but an interesting part that most people don't talk about is that the reason why a lot of homes are getting expensive is because investment banks are also buying up a lot of them, so that way they can rent them or else build really nice crappy homes that are very expensive. And just like how the AI companies are buying up all the RAM and computer components, so there's no more for us. So it seems there's a bit of a pattern with this.
Yeah. I mean, a big reason why home prices shot up too is services like Airbnb and VRBO.
Oh yeah, Airbnb. I generally don't like Airbnb anymore because they have so many ridiculous fees that it just makes sense it genuinely makes more sense just to get a hotel, because in a hotel you're not only going to have be micromanaged heavily like you are with an Airbnb. You're not going to have not going to necessarily have that many ridiculous fees, but you also have, I don't know, people that actually clean your room for you.
Room service.
You get that.
Sometimes free breakfast.
Yeah, sometimes. You're also right next to the city center too, so you're not going to be in random neighbor. Or, I mean, you're generally, when you're in a hotel, you're generally going to be close to other businesses, so that way you can get, so that way even if you don't, you can access a lot of stuff easier, and you're not going to be, because you're not going to be in a random neighborhood. That's supposed,
where you don't know the crime rates.
Yeah, because at least if a hotel, most of the time, there's a reason why I'm saying most of the time. Most of the time, you're very safe in a hotel because they also have security at the hotels too.
Yep. And usually 24/7 staff.
Yeah.
I'm saying usually because we stayed at a Super 8 once, and that staff was definitely not 24/7. Me and my dad were the only ones in the entire building.
You guys could have stolen so much stuff, and they wouldn't have even noticed.
Well, it was a really sketchy Super 8. For one, we got there, and the guy at the front desk is asking for IDs and such, and wants to know the car that we took here, and then claims that the hotel is full, when there are only 2 cars in the parking lot, the guys at the front desk's car and our car, and yet somehow the hotel's full. And then the beds were wet, the water was not safe to drink. I don't know what was in it, but it did not come out clean. I regretted showering that night, which was a first. Yeah, it was a sketchy Super 8.
That was the one Sheldon, Iowa, and if I'm not, and that I believe.
Yes, do not go to the Super 8 in Sheldon, Iowa.
Wasn't that also the same? Wasn't that also the same? Wasn't that also the same trip that you had to miss an episode for back in early 2023? So Tabby and I did an episode without you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. Yep, I was on the road to Iowa for a business trip. And that was sketchiest place I've ever stayed. But what the heck were we talking
the
about?
Apple Careers.
Oh yeah, subscriptions. Yeah. It's just these days we're struggling to afford things as is. And yet they just want to keep piling on this never-ending fee.
The problem with fees that never end is that there's sometimes you're gonna be sometimes when you're gonna have to cut back. That's just inevitable. You're gonna have to be able to cut back, and this is part of the reason. This is part of the reason why GM and Chrysler had to get bailed out by the U.S. government is because our workers were unionized, so they effectively had to keep paying their workers even if they couldn't afford to. So that's basically the same issue that the subscription models theoretically want to get us into. And the only subscriptions I pay for are, I do pay for 50 gigabytes of iCloud storage. But that's because I actually get stuff out of iCloud storage. Because I get the benefits of having...
And that type of stuff requires maintenance.
Yeah.
Because it costs money to maintain a data center. Hard drives will fail. They'll need to be replaced. And then there's other maintenance infrastructure that needs to be done.
Don't you have to get 20...
So there's some instances where I totally understand. Yeah, you kind of need a subscription
and with iCloud,
for. Like your cellular plan.
And yeah, and for iCloud, it makes sense because you get the benefits of being able to have everything directly tied into the Apple ecosystem. So you get benefits. And furthermore, this is one thing that I don't think a lot of people think about, but don't you have to have 24/7 staff at servers with big online servers as well?
Not necessarily, but you at least want you want good monitoring. Because most of the time, a lot of data centers don't actually have people on site, primarily because it gets so hot and toasty there that I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to actually work inside a data center with all the heat that those hard drives and computers are generating. So, and it's only going to get worse with the AI BS data centers that are coming online. It's just going to get worse. So, no, there are some things that, yeah, a subscription fee makes sense. Like your cell phone bill, that's real infrastructure that needs to be maintained. And or cloud storage. Hard drives will fail. There's cost for energy. There's cost for data bandwidth and such. Like there are scenarios where subscription makes sense.
And for Apple Music, it makes sense too because you have the ability to access literally all the music royalties you want.
Royalties. Yeah. Yep. But there comes a point where it's just you're just being greedy.
Like you don't have to constantly they're not constantly maintaining these creative apps. Like I mean, yes, they are maintaining them, but they're not infrastructure, if you will.
In my opinion, it's subsidized under other sales. Like, I mean, how much money does Apple make from selling the iPhone? When the cost of the components is how much?
They make the cost of the components of the iPhone 13 Pro Max is like $560, and I assume it's well, now I'm sure it's skyrocketed because of the computer price components crisis, but
Oh, definitely.
but I'm assuming it stayed around the same until maybe went up just a little bit until the computer components crisis. Although I'm sure they're still finding ways to cheap
But there's
out
a
with
lot
paint.
of yeah, but there's a lot of overhead that's put into the. It's a common business thing. You'll see every business do it. It's called overhead, covering the cost. You got to pay people. I mean, Apple does marketing. You got to spend money for marketing and such. And then they also have R&D costs. Those are real costs that, well, you can't really factor in the cost of components. So, and in my opinion, at least, with how frequently Apple updates their creative software, it's not very frequent. It is very infrequent, the amount of updates we get to the creative software, like Pages, Numbers, Keynote, Final Cut. It is very rare they update it. So I don't think they have a high priority team on it. But and it's like also you paid how much money for the Pro software especially?
Yeah, you paid through. This is Final Cut Pro because they stopped letting you use student discounts. I had to pay the full $300 for that.
Yeah, I was lucky to pay the $200 for the entire bundle.
Yeah, now they actually check.
But I mean, other things too. Like they market a Mac as once you unbox it, it's ready to go. That's how they market it. It's no, you don't need to download all this software to get it. No. When you unbox a Mac, it has all the tools you need to get ready to actually do work. And part of those tools is Pages, Numbers, and Keynote. That's why they come free included with the Mac. It's so that way Apple can advertise. You don't need to. There's hardly any setup. It's just log in and you're ready to go. I mean, I think that, if I recall, that was a thing with the Get a Mac ads.
Yes, and I think so. But another thing that the Get a Mac ads emphasized was how Macs weren't supposed to be all about boring work like spreadsheets and documents. Macs are supposed to be able to fund stuff like videos and photos and music. And I feel like this Apple Creator Suite, it's sort of deriving away from that. Although Apple...
It's the AI stuff is not about being creative. It's about taking shortcuts. A lot of it is just taking shortcuts and removing authenticity from the work.
Exactly.
You can even call it that. So, nonetheless, we've been on this topic for a while, and we've got a long list of other topics to talk about.
We have 9 plus. We have 18 more topics left. There's no out.
And we got less than an hour and a half to do it. So all right.
So the MacBook Pro is now.
We can breeze through this.
The MacBook Pro just turned 20 recently. The first MacBook Pro was released 20 years ago now, so...
That seems like an old number. It seems like a big number, but at the same time, it doesn't really feel that old.
I mean... Yeah, because you were alive when the first MacBook Pro released, but I wasn't, so... And we're not exactly that old, so I mean, it makes... and all the MacBook Pro really was just a rebranding of the PowerBook. That's literally all it was.
Effectively, yeah.
Which I personally think the MacBook name is much better, because it's much clearer.
So.
But yeah, Mac Pro's turned 20. I'm using Mac Pro right now. Alpha's gonna use it to send me his clip. If you don't have Starlink yet, or you haven't gotten Starlink set up yet, do you? Have you?
We have to mount it. That's the thing. We gotta
right.
find a mount for it, and it's really hard to do it in the winter.
Oh, right. Okay. So Alpha's still gonna be using Mac Pro to help with this episode. I'm still using one. So yeah, I'm quite glad that's turned 20. Shall we go ahead and move on to our next topic? That is actually quite an interesting one.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
So iOS 26 has low adoption. That's right. Average Joes are not updating their iPhones.
And I have a theory as to why. My theory is, over the past few years, iOS has been getting buggier and buggier and buggier until iOS 18 came out, and it is a disaster. It is so bad, iOS 18. And if I'm being honest, iOS 26, when it was launched, even though I personally like the design, as I've stated time and time again, a redesign was not what we needed. We needed stability. And in my personal opinion, even though, for me at least, iOS 26 fixed the majority of my issues with iOS 18, to average Joes, iOS 26 did not signal any fixes were coming anytime soon. And so they're putting their foot down and saying, that's it. We've had it. We don't want to update our phones until you give us a stability update.
I mean, Apple's been known to do...
Because we are tired of our devices not working.
I mean, yeah, because they don't... Because if you... Because did you by chance watch my video on the evolution of iOS that I made just last fall?
I don't recall if I have or not.
So, in that video,
it's too long ago.
You saw how much time I gave for explaining the features of the very early iOS versions. Like, you saw how much time I gave those. Like some of those versions would get like 1 to maybe 3 minutes of time. Those versions got a lot of time.
Well, that's because they were adding a bunch of features.
But even though the newer...
Yeah, they were adding so much at the time.
But even though the newer iOS versions add so many more features too, I only gave the iOS 17, 18... iOS 17 I think only got a few... iOS 17 didn't even get a minute. That's how insignificant it was.
Yeah.
In iOS 17, I mean, 17 was better than 16, but 17 still wasn't... 17 was just kind of why.
Yeah. No, I'd argue for that. That makes sense.
And then again,
but
iOS 18 to iOS 26. What? That was the last problem that we had with iOS. Is the numbering.
It felt so tone deaf.
Yeah, no one... It's like that tweet. It's like it reminds me of their. So did you see that I retweet recently? The retweet I did recently about how Microsoft announced that Copilot was coming to File Explorer, and this one guy retweeted said, with a screenshot of how it said no results of I wish File Explorer had Copilot.
I did see that, yes.
No, I'm pretty sure there were also no results for I wish iOS was numbered differently. I have seen lots of tweets complaining about the stability of iOS, though. I've seen lots of tweets discriminating against that. That's not the right word.
And I mean, I'm lucky that with iOS 26, it's not that bad for me. I mean, I still have bugs. I will be clear. I still have bugs, particularly with my AirPods. And it is infuriating because I have to go out of my way to fix it. It doesn't fix itself. So, but no, I think this time, because with iOS 18, I couldn't make phone calls. I couldn't send certain text messages to certain people. It made no sense as to why. The primary function of this thing is it is a communication device. And it was not doing its job. It was not doing its primary function. When you have bugs that bad, people legit start to ask questions. And when iOS 26 came out, I was like, oh, Rita's a new UI. Look at this. Doesn't it look pretty? When you can't make phone calls, you cannot deny how tone deaf that feels. And I think Apple is finally witnessing this.
I think we all picked the right I think us and Tabby picked the right WWDC to go on vacation during. I'm dead serious because I remember I was on a boat in France when I realized that was the right time to check Apple's website. I remember reading everything in there thinking. Mind you, I did take some time out of seeing the scenery in France partially, but I remember not spending that much time on it because it was just, I ultimately realized, hey, this is out of touch. None of this really matters, and so I was. And by the way, I might be going for WWDC 27 WWDC 26. I might be going for that one too.
We might know why. I don't
know.
No,
it's good. It's for my trip to Europe. That would be.
I don't know. Do they always do it early June, or do they do it at the end of June sometimes?
Usually it's early June, but sometimes it varies, so it depends. So that's why I said I might.
Okay. So, but no. I mean, on one hand, it's kind of concerning to see the low adoption rate because, for one, again, even though as tone deaf as iOS 26 is, it's fixed a lot of iOS 18's problems. But at the same time, this is people putting their foot down, saying, "We're done. We're tired of. We want stability. That's all we care about at this point. We just want to be able to make a stupid phone call." So, I digress. That's my theory as to why iOS 26 has low adoption.
Well, also, lots of people might not like the look, but yeah, it's troubling to see average Joe's not updating since usually it's a problem when average Joes update their phones, but it's not necessarily a problem. Usually that's what they do, but shall we move on to our next topic about devices that are fully up to date?
Not.
So I meant on most of what you're going to be using this on will be on iOS devices that are fully up to date. Most likely to downgrade them to older iOS versions, but iOS 9.3.5 through 9.3.6 now have a working jailbreak.me, meaning that you'll soon be able to jailbreak them with jailbreak.me, which means you'll be able to jailbreak them with Safari. I'm not going to make a video demonstrating that because I have zero desire to update any one of my A5 devices to iOS 9 to test that, because if you know anything about A5 devices on iOS 9, you know to steer clear. I got all my A5 devices downgraded back, and I'm never looking back.
But then what are you going to do for idiot award submissions? Because those are the most popular ones on all of your jailbreak tutorials.
That's true. What am I going to do about it? Yeah, what am I going to do about... Honestly,
It's always your jailbreak tutorials where you get the most idiot awards.
Jailbreak tutorials are the most, but jailbreak tutorials are also that. But I'm honestly getting sick of making downgrade jailbreak tutorials just because of all the dumb comments I get on them. I know I shouldn't let them discourage me, and
that is totally fair.
I mean, I do still get comments saying, "Hey, this worked," and judging by the number of views I get on them, I'm glad that they're genuinely working for people. But it's just that I get so many of these, and like sometimes it's the fault,
the stupidity,
and sometimes, and there's this. Honestly, I'm getting there's. From watching my videos, do you know what Viteris is?
No, I don't.
Viteris is a third-party app store client intended for iOS 5 through 7 because the original app store doesn't work, but the servers that power that are very unreliable. And so I get comments on my videos on Viteris constantly saying, "Hey, the request timed out," and whatnot. And I always have to keep commenting. The server goes down sometimes. Just wait for it to return, which I might seriously have to have a talk with the developer about that, since that's an issue in and of itself. But I mean, can't you maybe read other comments to see if anybody else is having that issue? Because I think there's only been like one time that I've actually commented about issues with a downgrade or jailbreak. Just in all my times trying it, I'm dead serious. If one method just doesn't work, I just go to find another. And that's why getting methods that actually work for downgrading and jailbreaking, especially downgrading, like sometimes takes me over 2 years to find downgrade methods that work. Like it took me I would say a year and a half to get my first generation iPhone downgrade. Took to 1.0. Took me 2 years of trying to get my iPhone 3G downgrade to phone OS 2.0, although I also had to get a new iPhone 3G because the charging port on my old one broke. But I'm rambling at this point, but yeah, but I just, maybe if this tutorial doesn't work for you, just find another one. But I think I'm just rambling about the old joke. Shall I move on to our next topic? Speaking of idiot awards.
Which idiot are we talking about? Google or Apple?
Both.
Fair enough. Gemini powered next generation Siri. Yay. I'm supposed to be excited.
I honestly was debating whether to include this or not, because the problem is that, I mean, first of all, the obvious problem is that this is giving Google complete control of the voice assistants, practically, which I thought Google was already having an antitrust lawsuit. I thought they already were, but that's aside the point. But also, I can't.
Let alone Apple Intelligence's marketing about how privacy focused it is, and yet who's controlling the voice?
Google, no, that's not even. Oh, did I forget to? But also, I'm sorry. I've said this before, and I'll say this again. LLMs are stupid. LLMs are literal artificial intelligence. They're not really intelligent. What Google had before of Google Assistant, that is far superior than whatever this new Gemini nonsense is.
It drives me nuts how Gemini focused my Pixel has become. Oh, it's at 13%. I should probably charge it.
I don't care about Gemini. I just care. I don't think I've saw anybody. I don't think I saw any tweets saying, "I wish Siri was Gemini powered." I've seen lots of tweets about about people wishing for Siri to get fixed, but I just want it to become more like Google Assistant and not necessarily AI powered. Or if they want it AI powered, they want to have artificial intelligence disease.
Yeah, there's not really too much else to discuss with it. It's just, wow, okay, more BS. Yay, you happy shareholders.
Next up, Verizon had an outage yesterday as we're recording, which we're recording this on January 15th, 2026.
Oh dear. I mean, it's bad for some people, not me.
Same. I mean, I'm glad Verizon got fixed, so sometimes this stuff happens, but hey, at least it's fixed now, so. Shall we move on to our next very big topic?
Oh. We're gonna have to find a way to rapid fire through all of this, but sure thing. We got some more CES topics to talk about, and unfortunately, I tried to look for anything notable in the EV space. I only found one thing, and it's a potential scam. But we'll discuss that when we get to there.
Zephyr now has heat trigger motion sensors that only use power when heat triggers them, unlike infrared motion sensors. That's cool. Denoise noise has a noise canceling window that cancels background voice by routing glass of a speaker. That's actually pretty cool, I'll say. With his speaker the middle range.
That's gotta be pretty expensive too.
There's a robot.
But I also have to question though. I got a question real quick. You know the phones that have tried removing the earpiece speaker in favor of vibrating the glass to function as an earpiece speaker?
They crack, don't they?
Well, combination of that, but I also hear that the general sound quality is pretty bad.
They're not supposed to be speakers, so they're supposed to just cancel out the noise. But but yeah, rattling around glass, I wouldn't trust that. But and then there's a robot vacuum company that made the Nebula car with 1,800 horsepower claimed. I guess. There's a micro RGB TV Lenovo. Micro RGB TVs are now a thing. Okay, I guess. Lenovo now has a rollable screen laptop. Actually, that I'm intrigued by because it can roll to extend out further, which that's actually cool. I'm not gonna lie. Lego's smart bricks of NFC that can trigger according sound effects and lights. I thought Lego was supposed to be about imagination. I mean, Lego in Danish literally means play well. Well, you're supposed to imagine the sounds, but okay, I guess. Mui has a smart wood board that tracks sleep and heart rate. That's actually not pretty cool for people who don't wear smartwatches and want to track that. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know that many people that wanted that stuff tracked. Donut Labs is a solid state battery potential scam. Yeah, we've started about this stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Solid state stuff is generally.
Do you want me to go into this rant or no?
Can we rapid fire through the rest of the topics first? Or I meant like rapid fire.
Sure, let's do that because I have a rant on solid state batteries.
All right, and then the Alpha iMac ironer. It's actually not bad. And then the Aquara Smart Lock U400 that detects when your phone is nearby to automatically unlock. Which that is cool. As long as no one steals your phone.
I thought that was already a thing.
Okay, I guess that was.
I thought that's already a thing.
Okay, I guess that was already a thing. I didn't know that, but yeah, I guess you're. But how about let's talk about the Donut Labs solid state battery potential scam.
Yeah, so I know so many people, both you and another friend of mine, actually, when they see news about solid-state batteries, tend to get a little hyped.
I mean, in theory, it's supposed to be a good technology, but the problem is that it's never come to life.
Well, that's not necessarily true. There are real, legitimate solid-state batteries out there. It's been done. It's been made. The problem, and the reason why we don't see them in any production vehicle we can buy, is they are outrageously, ridiculously, insanely expensive to build.
That's very valid.
And because of that, to put it into a vehicle to sell to the masses, it's just not feasible. It doesn't make sense financially. And that's why we don't see solid-state batteries in our vehicles, even though they have successfully been built. The problem is they are just way too expensive, and we're almost at the end of the battery pricing war, cost per kilowatt hour, that type of thing. We are almost at a point where EVs are just as affordable as their gas car counterparts. We are almost there. In Tesla's case, they're already there. But others are just getting there. And that's using today's battery tech. that while no, it may not be as technically impressive as a solid-state battery, is way cheaper to produce than a solid-state battery. If we put solid-state batteries in our cars for the masses, they're going to be nowhere near the cost parity to a gas car equivalent. It just doesn't make sense. So, in order to make the solid-state battery make sense, it's not about developing it. It's about figuring out how to make this thing cost-effectively. And so far, from what I'm hearing with the Donut Labs announcement, all they're talking about right now is that they've developed a solid-state battery for a motorcycle. That's all I'm hearing. They developed the battery. Okay, that's nothing new. How do you plan on producing it? They've been pretty quiet about that. They haven't really discussed any estimate costs or anything like that, or how much does it cost to build this thing? Like the actual legitimate problem we have with solid state batteries right now. And also, like, in terms of battery advancements, I would totally expect this breakthrough to be done by either Tesla, because Tesla makes batteries, Panasonic, Samsung, LG, CATL. There's probably a few others that I can't think of at the moment, but I would expect like a legit, well-known battery company to have this breakthrough.
Especially because they have lots of expertise in manufacturing.
Right there. That's it. They know how to manufacture stuff. Donut Labs is a new name with no reputation for anything. And because I know, particularly EV skeptics, these people can hardly wait for the solid-state battery breakthrough so an EV can make sense to them, even though I'd argue that even today's battery tech and EVs can still make sense for them. But I digress. They're waiting for the solid-state battery breakthrough.
That breakthrough is going to probably be in, at the very least, 10 years, but more likely 20. Maybe even 30 or 40.
I don't know. I have no faith in this company actually being able to produce this battery. I think, especially with so much that has gone on with, like, there have been so many claims thrown out there with AI. They're all disingenuous. Be it the software itself, the hardware products that have been built around it. There's been a case with car manufacturers with so much hype and enthusiasm over development, like what's that one? Canoe. There's Canoe, for example. They were a startup. They had a lot of excitement around it, and yet they ended up going bankrupt before they could even launch a product. Lordstown Motors, with the Endurance, the truck the electric pickup truck that could not endure, unfortunately. And then anybody remember Nikola Motors by chance? Nikola Motors was one of the biggest ones. Such bold claims about the hydrogen future. Like, it was just a breakthrough. They had such breakthrough technologies. And yet, what are we left with? A massive pile of disappointment and money lost.
Exactly. I mean, Trevor Milton can't really spend much of it because of where he is now, but that's aside. That's aside the point. But the other.
He's not in jail, by the way.
You mean prison?
Yeah, he's not in prison. He's a free man.
Oh, well.
Actually.
Oh, right. I forgot he got freed.
Yeah. There was a president that pardoned him. I'll say that much.
I'll just look that up. I'll just look that up. Pardoned. Trevor Milton. Oh! Okay, that's
Yeah.
Alright, well, getting back away from that, yeah, that's quite some. But also, the other problem with solid state batteries is that this is going to be more like the computing revolution, where it's not going to be like this isn't going to be one sudden overnight boom. The solid state battery, just like any other battery technology, it's going to be a slow, steady progress until we eventually get to it. It's like the invention of it's like the transistor was invented in the 1950s, but the average Joe didn't have a computer until around the turn of the millennium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these days, 2-year-olds have iPads, which are handheld computers.
I had an iPad when I was 2. Almost 3, technically, but...
Just bring it into context, but no, I do not believe anything Donut Lab says. So I would remain incredibly skeptical of what they say on the solid state battery. In fact, I plan on making a full video on the Drive channel about this at some point. I just need this cool thing called time.
Yeah, we all need time. But shall we move on to our next topic? That is some of the best news we've heard.
I brought it home with me, actually.
So Dell admitted that no one is buying computer space off of AI. Woohoo! Let's go party!
They admitted that AI does not add value to this thing.
Wow, let's party, everybody! Party! I can't dance, by the way.
Woo! Put the party music in.
Except we can't do that because of copyright, but, how do we get balloons to go?
I don't...
How do we...
What is it?
We haven't gotten
Did I turn it off?
Please.
Did I turn off effects? Oh, I did. I did turn them off.
Okay, I turned them back on,
How do you do it?
I've never actually done...
What's the gesture? Why aren't these balloons going off?
We've got this done on accident so many times. Why is it doing it on purpose?
We do it on accident so many times.
How to trigger...
It's usually when I do this...
Balloons and Mac reaction.
Come on.
Make a victory sign, peace sign.
This is embarrassing. There we go. I got it.
Come on. Show it.
Do you have it turned on? Do you have the reactions turned on?
Yes, I got it. The balloon.
There it is. Woo!
The one time we actually needed balloons and we turned them off because they went off accidentally so many times.
Oh.
But yeah, this is
right.
very good news, in case you can't tell.
Yeah. And 2 weeks in a row from Dell. The XPS is back, baby. And at the same time, they've admitted AI is BS.
That's pretty cool, but shall we move on to our next topic that is very bad news?
You mean we gotta stop celebrating now?
Yep. So, Instagram had a data breach that exposed information on 17.5 million accounts.
Well, that's a good thing I'm not on Instagram.
Yikes.
Oh, wait, but I have a Facebook account now. So, it doesn't matter. It's all the same.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah, that's handy, but yeah, that's obviously bad, but that's really self-explanatory. But shall we move on to our next topic that is actually good news? Before we move on to some neutral news, I guess.
Sure. What is this?
So Tesla's Austin, Texas battery plant is now the world's largest lithium processor.
That's cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting batteries. We're actually figuring out how to manufacture batteries, which, hey, that only goes to further prove that Tesla might be the one for solid state battery breakthrough in many, many years from now.
Well, I'm not entirely sure, given their very high, lofty claims on the 4680 cells, and those being a massive, massive disappointment. Ugh. I'll give Tesla this. Those 4680s may be cheap to produce, but oh boy, do they not charge well, and do they not hold energy. So, I'll say that much. But, no, it's good. It's good that America's competing with China in lithium processing now. That's awesome. That's excellent to hear.
Exactly, but shall I move on to some news that I don't know how to react to?
I mean, me personally, because I never was really going to use it anyways, and probably would have gone through the subscription method if I needed to make content. But nonetheless, the news is Tesla is making FSD a monthly subscription. Well, actually, it's already been available as a month.
They're just making it exclusively.
Yeah, it's already been available as one.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, they're getting rid of the $8,000 upfront payment, and that's it. You pay $8,000, and that's it. You have FSD.
I mean,
so based off of what I said with Apple Creator Studio, yeah, I'm not particularly happy to see we're losing another one-time purchase payment. We're losing that effectively, so I'm not happy to see that, especially considering FSD is like $99 a month. It's not particularly cheap. But at the same time,
it doesn't matter.
What's the take rate? Yeah, what's the take rate on FSD? Like, you might think, especially if you watch YouTube and tech a lot, or Tesla in particular, you might think, oh, well, at least 50-ish% of people have FSD on their Teslas, right?
I mean, I don't...
Do you want to know what the actual number is?
I mean, yeah, because when my dad and I were talking about that on the phone, he said, now we need to make sure to get you a car with permanent FSD, and I told him, I don't care, because I genuinely...
You know what? I'm going to ask you, what do you think the percentage of the take rate for FSD is, be it in the form of subscription or one-time purchase? What do you think percentage of Tesla drivers actually use FSD?
%, maybe a little bit less.
Oh, actually, you're spot on. You're actually spot on.
I calculated based off of the fact that, the iPhone Air is still mostly, I based it off the fact that all the reviewers still got, like, the worst selling iPhones, like the iPhone Mini and the iPhone Air, which calculates around 10%, but slightly less of iPhone still. So that's why I estimated that Pro was going to be around that much. So that's how. Well,
you're actually spot on, because that legitimately is the take rate. I think it's between like 10 and 12% is the take rate for FSD.
I'm not surprised, because
it's not. I'm not either, because for one, if you pay for outright, it's $8,000, or if you were in that unlucky group, that one particular price period where it used to cost $15,000. Ooh, I feel so bad for you guys. But then again, you bought at you bought it. You guys were okay buying it at $15,000. I don't know what to tell you, but
I don't think they got their money's worth.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I'm trying to recall if there's some lawsuit about that going on, actually, but no, nonetheless. despite that, Tesla is trying to now, instead of market itself, I mean, again, their mission statement was to transition the world to sustainable energy. I've always asked, what does FSD actually do for that mission statement? To me, absolutely nothing. It's just a perk to get people in their cars to... Because there's some people that legitimately don't want to drive or just want to try out the cool tech. Because, I mean, FSD stuff aside, Teslas already have pretty cool tech in them. I mean, we discussed emissions testing mode last week. So. But, no, FSD never really was that important to me. And never is. And from Tesla, unfortunately, now really isn't, in my opinion, following their mission statement of transitioning the world to sustainable energy. I mean, sure, they're producing, well, they've scaled production of their electric cars and they've scaled production of superchargers, but they haven't really developed any new vehicles for, like, I'm sorry, they need a proper 3-row vehicle.
Yeah, they need definitely need that. I mean,
the Model Y 7-seater is back, but it's not the Model Y L.
I mean, yeah, same. Tesla does definitely need to make some improvements to their car, but in my opinion, they definitely should get a new mission statement.
Because they have not been following it. Because in my opinion, if you want to transition the world to sustainable energy, well, you are missing too many markets right now in terms of your automotive sector. Tesla does not have a proper 3-row seater. Even the Model X isn't that great. I mean, it's better than the 7-seater Model Y, but it's not by much. The 3rd row is still pretty crammed. The 2nd row doesn't have armrests. And it's also insanely expensive.
And there's the 800...
it's not particularly affordable.
And Tesla should also go to the 800-volt architecture since, I mean, Tesla still does... Tesla's not... I mean, I don't want Tesla to fall into the Intel... to fall like Intel when... Intel, because they were so comfortable at the top, they were basically... didn't really innovate that much. So I'm hoping Tesla doesn't fall on the same track. But yeah, they definitely need to make some changes. But we've gone on to this in so many episodes, so shall we go ahead and move on?
But nonetheless, the FSD talk, the take rate is not that high to begin with, despite that YouTube might make you think otherwise.
But I mean, lots of tech YouTubers bought the Vision Pro.
Tesla's trying to pitch itself. Okay, yeah, true. A lot of tech YouTubers bought Vision Pro. How well is that selling lately?
Not very well. So just because, here, I'll say this. I'll say this now. I've never said this directly on this show before, but just because it's on the media doesn't mean it's in... The media is not real life. This podcast is not... I mean, it is real life because we actually are doing this, but it's not reality.
We're real people.
It doesn't show us in our everyday lives.
I'll use some more John Prosser stuff because John Prosser does a really good job putting it this way. We, the tech enthusiasts, are disproportionately outnumbered by the average consumer. And in the case with FSD, clearly the average consumer doesn't care about a computer doing all the driving work for you.
And besides, most people that are afraid of that don't like driving or are afraid of it, I don't think FSD is going to help them.
I don't. I don't either. Because at least you can see what a human's about to do. You have no idea what a computer is going to do. So, but, no, I'm not complaining too much about... I mean, I will complain, yes, for those who do want FSD or who need FSD. In fairness, I do see one good reason to have it. It's if you're disabled and you're trying to get places. To me, it makes sense if you're disabled and you have a hard time operating the vehicle. But as accessibility... FSD, as long as you know how to use it right. continue.
But I mean, accessibility features only make up for a niche part of the market anyway. And
that's fair.
I mean, FSD is really more like Neuralink, where it's great for disabled people, but it's ultimately not sustainable for the average person. Because, I mean, let's say we trust Neuralink in its current leadership now. How do we know that the next CEO is going to have the same policy about privacy and whatnot?
Well, that's kind of a whole different topic entirely, but no, I think we got the point about how much of the population does the disabled make up?
I mean, they're significant enough to make procs for, but not significant enough to be the main focus. There's a reason why Apple unveils our accessibility features early.
So, yeah, I'm just disappointed that it's yet another we're losing a one-time purchase option.
Well, the other thing is that in Tesla's defense, because FSD is an AI model, it does technically cost a lot of money to train, and it does require constant upkeep to keep training it. So,
they are spending so much money on trying to develop it.
So, I mean, it does that. So, FSD probably is a high priority team, so that makes sort of sense. I mean, that makes more sense than making the creative
when they're
studio.
now marketing the entire when they're marketing the entire company now based off, no, we're not a car company anymore. We're an autonomy company. That's what we really are. That's where the money is. When that's all they're marketing their entire company off of these days, well, no, yeah, they're spending a crap ton of money on FSD right now.
And there's
and yet only 10% of Tesla drivers are using
it. I ultimately, the only thing that I think is ever gonna become successful is the Boring Company's tunnels, and that's just because the Boring Company fixes a far bigger problem that people actually do complain about, which is urban transportation.
And traffic. Yep. Albeit they've been a little stagnant lately.
Actually, they are building... Actually, the Boring Company is working on digging a tunnel through Nashville right now. That's supposed to go...
Really?
Yeah. They just got clearance for it, and it's supposed to go from the Capitol building and underneath State owned a road. It's going to have a few stops at like the downtown areas and whatnot, and then we'll go over to the big Nashville International Airport. Yep, that's the biggest thing that the Boring Company is working on right now.
That is a first. I have not heard this news. That's pretty cool that they're finally expanding outside of Vegas.
You haven't heard it? You seriously haven't heard of that expansion?
No, they've been so silent, and anyone in the Elon company, whatever. Nobody talks about the Boring Company. All they want to talk about is FSD and Grok.
Yeah, I mean, they're.
I don't.
I mean, that makes sense given that Nashville still doesn't have a proper full interstate bypass. There is no way to fully bypass that city on an interstate unless you're on I-40.
Yeah, I've noticed. I've noticed.
It's not. So yeah, Nashville kind of needs that. So I'm glad that's coming to Nashville, but that's a whole nother side tangent on its own. So shall we get back to our main topics, because we only have less than 40 minutes left, and we still have lots of rumors to cover, including a very exciting one at the end.
Yeah, well. All right. Yeah, let's get through them.
So the iPhone 17e is rumored to have 2,000 nits max brightness. That's a bin 4-core GPU, the possible N1 chip, possible U1 or U2, which the SD16e doesn't even have that. MagSafe, an 18 megapixel center stage front camera, and a February to March release.
So basically what the iPhone 16e kind of should have had from the beginning?
Yeah, well, the U1 chip for AirTags, yeah, it should have had that. MagSafe is a big one because lots of average Joes use MagSafe accessories.
Yeah. Yes. I was so surprised to see them actually not support MagSafe with the 16e. That was... That was bizarre.
Yeah, so that's
But,
what I'm glad to see. But the Apple Home Hub, which is their rumored home hub with a screen, that is rumored to be that's rumored to either be able to be mounted or on a wall or else on a stand, which that's cool, I guess.
I think it only makes sense on a wall because a HomePod on a stand. I think I legitimately already have one.
Yeah, that's a very I agree with that too. I mean, it's just if you want something stationary, but the big thing I want with the Apple Home Hub is, I'm sorry, but the Echo Show has become way too ridiculed with ads that you can't turn off, which that is driving me crazy. So that is why that is the one thing that I hope the Apple Home Hub does fix.
Can I also argue that I think we're putting too many screens in our houses these days?
I mean, that too, because I honestly don't see any I legitimately see no benefit of having a smart display anymore.
Because the only thing I can think of for a home-related screen that makes sense is a thermostat. That basically gives you humidity, your temperature, air pressure, maybe. That is like the only useful non-smartphone, tablet, that type of display-related thing I can think of with the display in your house. Just your thermostat, a smart thermostat.
I mean, the other things that I think make sense too are we should have more user-friendly screens on our appliances, on more of our appliances. So on appliances, that makes sense. But it doesn't make sense to have dedicated home displays.
So, I mean, that might be an unpopular opinion, especially for a tech enthusiast, but I'd argue, I think maybe we have a few too many devices in the house. Because, well, devices with screens. I can understand wanting smart speakers to play music throughout the house, but what do we need a screen for?
Yeah, that's a very valid point, but shall we? So, remember the bet we made last week?
Oh gosh, and it's getting worse.
So the AirPods Pro cameras are to use Apple Intelligence to identify your surroundings. Oh, no. Why do I have a feeling we're going to be recording an episode sometime this year on our old iMacs?
Out of curiosity, were you joking with that other thing to add to the bet? That you sent in text?
I was so I'll explain it. So for reference, we mentioned remember back when the Genius Bar podcast mentioned taking off their clothes as a bet.
Sam did the stream with no shirt, and John did no pants.
So I texted Alpha once I was editing the episode last weekend about how I'm surprised neither of us mentioned removing clothes, which I mean I wouldn't have done that anyway. But I'm surprised neither one of us even mentioned that.
For your information, guys, I am not removing my pants. You see. If you watched the vlog channel and bits of the drive channel, you would have seen me without a shirt. I'll say that much. You've seen me without a shirt. You are never going to see me without my pants on.
You have never... Unless... If you know me in real life, it's a little bit different, but on my YouTube channel, there is no footage of me without a shirt, and in fact... Even at the beach, I usually am still fully clothed. I mean, except for shoes, but I mean, otherwise, I usually still wear a shirt at the beach. And that also is largely to help with sunburn too, so that way I don't get.
Yeah.
Hey,
I keep telling myself I'm gonna wear a swim shirt more often, and yet I keep forgetting to pack it, and so I end up getting sunburned every single time.
That's why I recommend just doing what I do. I mean, I just wore a normal polo shirt on my last beach trip, so.
Nonetheless, no, we're not gonna pull a Genius Bar.
Because we know exactly what's. First of all, I can't go on the show without pants anyway. Because if I do, then don't you know how often I get up during the show?
And I got center stage active.
Well, we'll be on our old iMac, so there will be no center stage on that episode.
Oh, right. Right.
But
well, at least I have a standing desk so I can control the height.
But it'll still be it will still be, but it'll be blurrier at least. But yeah, no, we're not taking our clothes off. But this bet is
we're not doing a John Prosser.
At least if we did that, and at least if there was an incident, we could at least cut it out before it got to the main show. Because there's
the reason we don't live stream.
Because there's no way those old iMacs can live stream. And we don't even live stream.
That one could.
Mine probably could too if I upgrade the RAM and solid state drive. Which, yeah, that's an extra cost I have to do too. But but I mean, there's the reason why we don't record TIFP live isn't necessarily because we can't. It's just because there are pros to this not being live.
And we're going to keep those pros. So, nonetheless, the AirPods Pro rumors with camera, it's all... At least we think it's all bogus. I really hope this is not a reality.
Yeah, same, because that's going to be so stupid. But, moving on, the Apple Watch Series 12 and Ultra 4 are rumored to have better battery life and Touch ID.
Really? So we're going to finally get longer than 18 hours of battery life on an Apple Watch?
Finally! I know, that took so... I mean, the Ultra technically does, but that will be such a relief. And, I mean, Touch ID, I mean... If they could implement it in a way that makes it compact, then... Okay, not bad.
I think I know where they do it.
On the power button.
Yeah.
I mean, that's better than having to type in my
I don't think they'd go in display.
Yeah, that probably be the most real.
You know, that's a good question.
Huh?
Would they?
Would they what?
Do you think, out of possibility, they might try to do in-display Touch ID?
No.
Because it's either going to be on the digital crown, the side button, for a mechanical hard solution. But I don't know. Could they do it in display?
They would have done that on their other devices if they were planning on doing so. So I predict it will be on the side button, but that's just me. But
I don't know. Just
at least it's not. At least it'll help me not be able to have to type in my passcode every time. But for Alpha,
well, I just use my iPhone.
Oftentimes I use my Apple Watch without my phone, but yeah, it's the point. But shall we move on to our next topic about the iPad Mini 8, the best iPad that has ever iPadded to parody, to quote John Prosser.
I love how we talk about him so much, and yet he's not a popular dude right now.
Yeah. So, the iPad Mini 8 is rumored to be water resistant for the first time on an iPad. That actually makes sense because lots of little kids use iPads, and some little kids, including yours truly, have dropped iPads in the water without knowing otherwise. So that'll be...
I was going to say spilling drinks, but
spilling drinks too. Yeah, that too. Because that's also happened to me a bunch too. So that'll be glad to see. But it'll have vibrating speakers without speaker holes.
Oh, don't tell me it's the glass thing again.
I don't know. I think maybe, but I think so. But I mean, without speaker,
I don't have a lot of faith in that.
I mean, without speaker holes, I mean, this is not the first time Apple's done that. Because reaching for the cabinet again, showing why I need to wear pants on TIFP. Alright, I don't think I've reached for anything in this new cabinet yet, but on old iPods like the iPod's first generation, the little clicker, that's integrated into a charging port. You can't hear it. And then on the iPod Touch second and third generation, the speaker is, there's actually no dedicated speaker holes. The speaker's on the charging port. Because I remember back when I first got my first iPod Touch second generation, which, let me see if I can find eggs. It's this one, yeah. When I got this one for back in March 2019, I remember looking and thinking, where's the speaker on this? And I had to look it up online to figure out that, or Mom actually did, to figure out that there was no.
It's just, these days, Apple cares so much about sound quality and all of their devices. It's just, well, okay, well, except for the iPhone Air, though they did a fairly good job with the single earpiece speaker that they have. But it's just, I don't know. I think they're going to be severely compromising the sound quality of the iPad Mini if that's what
the iPad Mini, as is, I mean, I don't really use the inbuilt speakers, so I usually have my AirPods connected. But this has quad speakers. Quad speakers.
So, nonetheless, I don't think the whatever speaker thing they're talking about sounds realistic.
Yeah, neither do I. But our next topic is something that I did not predict for Apple doing in 2026. But shall we move on to that?
Okay, this application's more practical than Vision Pro. But now I'm really going to be questioning that price point. They're going to pick for it.
So, Apple's rumored to make smart glasses to compete with Meta Ray-Bans releasing this year without the display, at least for now, which... Okay, because you're going to be interacting with largely your voice or buttons. That makes a little bit more sense. Like, in 2021, actually, I mentioned how I unboxed my dad's old Bose smart sunglasses that had open-ear speakers, and that was an actually practical use of smart glasses, not gonna lie. But so it makes a little bit more sense, but I at the same time wouldn't really buy them.
Neither would I. But again, also too, I worry about the price. If Vision Pro is $3,500, how expensive do you think glasses would be?
Not to mention,
there's no way they're going to be cheap.
Not to mention people's prescriptions.
True, mine's like $800. It ain't cheap.
Yours is $800?
Yeah.
I think my grandma...
To make my set of glasses, it's around $800.
I think my grandma's is only $600.
Dude, my eyes are screwed up.
I knew yours was expensive.
I'm practically blind.
I knew yours were expensive. I didn't think they were that... Okay, yeah, that's going to be quite... Okay, that's good to know, but...
And I'm forgetting inflation. By the way, I'm forgetting inflation. They gotta be more expensive than that.
Oh! Not to mention that these smart glasses require RAM!
Oh, yeah. They do. Luckily, these don't.
Did you see that meme on Twitter about the RAM I want versus the RAM I can afford, and the RAM I want is like DDR5 RAM, whereas the RAM I can afford is a RAM truck?
Not even anybody can afford that. Does anybody have any idea how much RAM trucks cost?
I think it was talking about
new?
I think it was talking about a used RAM truck, but I think it was largely exaggerating how expensive RAM.
Here's the used RAM truck you can buy, one that's not working.
Yeah, exactly. But that's aside the point. But shall we move on to our next topic? Which...
topic 7. Security camera.
That's apparently going to release this year with 1 year battery life and an infrared camera. Seems solid.
You're going to need an iCloud subscription to hold all that data?
Oh, right, because, gee, that could be fixed by, I don't know, making an airport?
There's no way they'd bring the airport back just for the camera, though.
No, but...
There's no way. They're gonna force you to pay for
Yeah,
iPhone.
that's the rather unfortunate part. If they brought the airport back, then I would be all on board.
Yep, same here. I probably wouldn't have had to build this. No, that's technically not true. I probably would still have to.
But yeah, I still want the airport back, guys. But we've talked about that so much. But shall we move on to our next topic?
A Face ID doorbell.
So Apple's rumored to make a Face ID doorbell that's releasing sometime after 2026. So I don't know how long this will take, but a Face ID doorbell. That's actually a great idea. Not gonna lie.
That kind of is, because it's like, I mean, I've said this all the time when it comes to biometric security. I've known plenty of people. In fact, I'm one of those people that has a hard time with fingerprints.
Some people don't even have fingers or
eczema.
hands or arms even.
True. I still have yet to meet someone who doesn't have a face.
And more importantly, I know lots of people who forget their keys and key combinations. I know lots of people who get locked out of their house.
I lock myself out of my car all the time because I keep forgetting my keys.
So I know lots of people that forget that, but I don't know anybody who forgets their faces. If Apple makes this Face ID doorbell, I think that their Face ID doorbell will be the most revolutionary product they've ever made. I am dead serious. Or I think it'll be the...
Well, I was thinking more... I think it'd be more practical in the event of, like, securing the house. Like, so far it's just saying doorbell. I'd be more interested in, like, an actual lock.
I think it will work with law.
A Face ID powered
No,
smart
I think
lock.
I think it will work in alongside. I think it might also work as a lock too.
I'd hope.
Yeah, because if they invent a Face ID lock, then that would be as big of an innovation as the iPhone and Mac. That's the kind.
When it got Touch ID.
No, I meant like the invention of the iPhone and Mac. Period. Because think about it. Think about this seriously. You don't have to, unless except for extreme backup scenarios, you can forget your keys most of the time. And you don't have to give everybody else you know a key.
Yeah.
So that way there are fewer duplicates of keys. So that way, if one of your relatives gets robbed, then if you don't have to give them keys because they have access by Face ID, then you can go. Then your house is going to be a lot more secure.
But the reason why I'm saying it'd be more like when the iPhone got Touch ID is because
Biometrics.
we have locks. We already have locks that use like pins, not like a physical keys, but you got smart locks with number pads. You enter the code and it unlocks the door.
I mean, that is true at the same time, but it is still significantly easier to just use your face, but that's beside the point. But shall we go ahead and move on to our next topic that is very, very exciting?
So I put this in here, and I don't know if this is fully true or not. It's just
Because this does sound outlandish.
That's why I put it in the rumors. Yeah, but Arizona, of all states, is looking into testing changing the speed limit on the interstates to the infinity symbol, if you know what I mean.
I think I suppose if they'll do that, they'll have to still put a recommended speed because, like on the autobahn, they have to put a recommended speed, even on the no speed limit parts, just for reliability for
So
accidents.
yeah, it's like the minimum speed limit.
Or I meant like it'll be
So
more like no, I meant like this will just be like it'll be an advised speed to go to, but it won't be a limit. So that way, for liability purposes for accidents.
yeah, so if I recall, it's not exactly infinity like the autobahn. There will be what is it, the phrase? Um,
Reasonable and prudent, I should say.
that's it. Yes, reasonable and prudent. That's what they're going to change the speed limit to. It's not exactly infinity like the autobahn. The autobahn is like legitimately infinity. It's whatever your car is capable of doing. You will not get pulled over. But for Arizona, it'll basically be reasonable and prudent. And so that means there is legit room for being stupid and crazy. What that is going to be is beyond me. And it does make me a little bit worried. And the reason why I'm not putting full faith into this happening, if I recall, I think Montana.
Yes, that's what I was
tried
about to
this
mention.
some time ago.
Can I?
Yeah, Montana tried this some time ago, and at least on the east side of Montana, out of the Rockies, you can probably fly through there. You can probably drive pretty fast through there because it's mostly plains and all that. And I'm talking the east side of Montana, not the west side that's actually in the Rockies. But there was, if I recall, the story was one driver was doing like a little over 100 miles an hour on the interstate through there, got pulled over, and he took it to the court with full beliefs that the speed he was driving was reasonable and prudent.
Actually, from what I read on Wikipedia, that's not the which again it is Wikipedia, but that's not the actual story that did it. That's not the case that did it from what I read on Wikipedia, but
Well, something along those lines.
it wasn't. It was not.
That's what I've heard.
It was not on interstate. What can I explain? What it says on Wikipedia?
Sure. What does Wikipedia say?
So, granted, it is Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. But apparently, what happened was there was this guy who was driving, I think, through a park or something, which had like a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit or something like that, and he was driving like in the 80s, and that was the case that finally got them to realize that basically what happened was the reasonable and prudent law. They found out that the Montana Supreme Court realized that violated the Montana state constitution, so they actually placed speed limits on board. And the problem with reasonable and prudent that I'll get to is that the problem is that everybody is is that there's no clear rules for that. So
yeah, it's really
so
up to. It's way too subjective,
which is not what you want for a law.
In my opinion, it's either you have a hard limit, or you do what Germany did and you set the national speed limit to infinity. So that's how I feel about it now. In northern states, I can see why reasonable and prudent should make sense, and it's for cold, slippery conditions. I mean, we have this thing here too in the state of Michigan where you can get pulled over for driving the speed limit, posted speed limit in winter conditions based off of a law that we have here that is for driving to conditions. If the conditions make it dangerous for driving, at that point we apply a bit of our own reasonable and prudent, and typically reasonable and prudent would be under the speed limit for safety. So there are times where we have to exercise a bit of reasonable and prudent, and it's usually when we have to go under the speed limit. So in the northern states, if they were to have, say, an Autobahn system, I would expect they'd need some kind of rule for reasonable and prudent in winter conditions.
I mean, even what I should say is, first of all, Arizona, I can see why they're doing that, because I believe they still get a bunch of snow in Arizona, especially on top of the Rocky Mountains.
They don't get that much because they're so far south, but they get just a little bit.
Yeah, okay, that's what. But still, in the southern states, I would say, in Texas and Louisiana, I believe. I know this is true in Texas, and I believe this is the case in Louisiana, but they have that too. Texas and Louisiana's are more about rain, whereas if you're driving in heavy rain and you're going the speed limit, you can get pulled over for that.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case.
But I've genuinely never seen anybody actually go to full speed limit in heavy rain, because usually the other cars in front of you aren't going to let you do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the reasonable and prudent laws do make sense in a few more places like that, because there's still extreme weather with low visibility conditions everywhere, which is a big reason why I think.
And at that point, that's where reasonable and prudent applies.
And that's a big reason why I can understand why lots of states don't post minimum speed limits on interstates, is because the minimum conditions don't always apply. Well, they should apply for traffic jams, just to prevent traffic from being able to get on the interstates in the case of a traffic jam. But
well, yeah.
But for weather conditions, there's some weather conditions when it doesn't matter what the minimum is.
So, but nonetheless, for one, if this turns out to actually happen, I guess I got to get Stardust or whatever car I own down to Arizona to try it out.
Same.
But I mean, it's not that I'm against speed limits. There are situations where I believe they should exist and they should be followed. But especially with improvements to cars these days, albeit SUVs are a bit questionable in this regard, but sedans in particular, as the technology has improved to make these vehicles more capable at higher speeds. And as a result, I think a lot of drivers can feel confident in either taking corners fast or just driving faster.
Exactly.
Because the cars are improving. They're becoming more capable. Now, I question that with our latest move to crossovers and SUVs, because from what I found, that is the complete opposite with that.
Oh, that's exactly right, because my mom always complains whenever I take turns at like 15 miles an hour, and that's not unreasonable, right?
No, it's not.
Especially in a sedan.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, in a sedan, that is not at all unreasonable. And another thing, too, that my mom complains is that there's this one neighborhood road that I have to drive through with a speed limit at 30 that's located on a big hill. And even though the speed limit is 30, I drive 30, and mom complains, oh no, you're going way too fast, so you gotta slow down to 20. And I'm like, no, because, there's going to be people playing there. First of all, there's not going to be kids in the road every single time. But also, what do you think I'm looking for? Like, if on the rare event that there are kids on the road, which, again, it is pretty rare, there's this thing called brakes. And it's only 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's easier to come to a stop at 30 miles an hour. That's city driving speeds.
Yeah. 30 is not too fast. Obviously, in residential neighborhoods, you do need speed limits.
Yes, that is an obvious place where you need them.
And I mean,
I'd say busy city streets too.
Divided highways that aren't interstates, or that aren't freeway, like expressways, I would say, yeah, they definitely should, because there's still going to be traffic turning on and off. So that's not going to be merging. So I would say divided highways definitely.
But the best place where I think, yeah, the best place where I can think to actually integrate the speed limit infinity, basically. It really is on the interstate, in between cities. Not in the city. I wouldn't have, like... I don't think it'd be a good idea to have infinite speed limit on sections of the interstate that actually drive through a city, like Indianapolis, for example.
I actually think it's just... I actually think that people... That there should... That people that they decrease speed limits too much in big cities.
The reason I disagree with that is because I've learned this in Charlotte, in particular. At one moment, you can be going 75, 80 miles an hour in Charlotte, and then immediately you are at a standstill. You gotta slam on those brakes. Next thing you know, traffic gets going again, you're going right back to 80, and then you are slamming on it. That is begging for an accident.
But
if you have to speed up and slow down that frequently, you're just asking for an accident.
I mean, that is, I mean, by speed limits decreasing too much, I mean, I still think the speed limit should be, I don't think the speed limit should drop to like 50 miles an hour in Indianapolis. I think that's ridiculous. It should not be 50 in the big cities in through downtown Indianapolis. That's ridiculous. But I think 70 is probably good for big cities personally. Because if there's no traffic in a big city, then that'll help move it a lot faster. Because it just helps move traffic a lot faster. So that way the roads clear out a lot more.
I'm more in the camp of either 60 or 65.
The one thing I will say though is that bypassing interstates for big cities, they should never have decreased speed limits. That drives me insane. How they still do that.
That's a fair point.
That's
a fair point because you're not going in the city where you're getting into the dense traffic and all that. But
although
no,
in theory, which maybe at least North Carolina does it the right way. Although there are some cities like Indianapolis that need to work on that to make their bypasses faster than 55 miles per hour.
Dude, everybody's doing 80 on those stretches. Everybody's doing 80 in Indianapolis.
Or else here's another one.
Again, I don't like going that fast because not every car has 1,000 horsepower. And so when traffic gets going from a standstill, you got to get on that gas and you got to get going as fast as you can, only to eventually hit another standstill, and you better slam those brakes and hope that it's enough. It's just that's the reason why I don't like super fast speed limits like that in the city. It's because once you get into dense traffic, if it's going to be constant getting going again and stopping again and getting going, you're just asking for an accident. It's hard for a car to keep up like that, especially Stardust case. Stardust is not a performance car at all. She may handle pretty well for a big sedan, but she's not that powerful.
That is a very valid point.
And she does not like stop and go freeway traffic.
That is a valid point because I've never personally had issues with my car in stop and go freeway traffic. My car is also it is intended to be a little bit spicier, so that is that. But another idea that I have
I was gonna say, you drive a Mercedes. You drive a nice, albeit it's older. You drive a nice Mercedes with a very healthy engine and a very healthy power figure. I drive a nice car, but its engine was not built for performance. It was built for efficiency. And city freeway stop and go traffic like that, it is, I've learned real quick, that car does not like it at all.
Furthermore, another idea I've been toying... Never mind, you talk.
No, you go for it. I'm just repeating myself.
Alright, so one idea I have come up with on freeways too is not only restricting trucks, which trucks really should be restricted to the right lane, but I've also thought about on 6-lane interstates at least reducing or restricting SUVs and pickups and other vans. So that way the left lane of a 6-lane interstate is only for sedans.
I mean, in my humble opinion, the sedan really is the superior vehicle on the road.
Exactly, and
I can never ask for more.
On 8-lane interstates, I personally think that they could restrict the leftmost lane to sports cars, and then the lane next to that for just any type of sedan, and the next lane next to that for also pickups, SUVs, and vans, and all minivans, and then the right lane is going to be for semis, hazmats, all that, towing, all that.
Yep.
But we're out of time, in other words.
In general, in general, I like the idea of turning our interstates into autobahns because a lot of them are just straight. You're not turning much. You're not winding through mountains. A lot of traveling through America is just straight, boring highway. And so I really do think that, if Germany can do it, so can we. I mean, most of us break the speed limit anyways. We drive faster than what the speed limit suggests.
Exactly. But shall I go ahead and conclude the show now?
I'd say so. It is just about 9 p.m.
Alright, so as always, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the iTunes Fan Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Macker from the iTunes Fanboy.
And my name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha with plenty of recommendations.
And as always, we recommend you to have a very good day, and we hope to see you all in the next episode, which we recommended that you watch. As always, take care and peace out.